Coming to you from the Deep South, this is the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast. High-impact leadership is not reserved for leaders, and it has nothing to do with your position, title, or rank. However, it does have everything to do with your character. It's time to climb to the next level and beyond, personally and professionally. Now, let's start making it happen with your host, Mack Story.
All right, folks, welcome to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast today, where we'll be talking about part 3 of 30, or chapter 23, if you're following along in the Blue Collar Leadership and Supervision book with the subtitle, Unleash Your Team's Potential. So chapter 23 is titled Everybody Matters, with a subtitle, There is Potential in Everyone. And a lot of organizations, blue-collar organizations across the country, take advantage of our special offer and get us in where they have us come speak up to 4 hours, and they get a couple hundred books as part of that $3,600 package. So we were in Washington, D.C. on August the 1st speaking to a large conference, 2019 Towing and Recovery Summit, Management Summit was what it actually was. And we met a lot of business owners from across the country who own towing businesses and tow service, recovery, vehicle recovery, and that sort of thing. And we got to meet the owners of Santa Fe Tow Service out in the Kansas City area. And they actually purchased 2 of our special offers, got 400 books, got us out to speak up for a total of 8 hours to their team on site. They have about 73 team members. And the reason I'm telling you that is because when Rhea and I go to these organizations, especially when we go in and we don't even know how many times we're going to go, if they're just doing one special offer or maybe 2 special offers like Santa Fe Tow Service did, we don't know if we're ever coming back. What I want to do, Rhea and I do, when we walk into that organization is exactly what this chapter is about. We want everyone to feel like they matter equally. We want to lift them up. When we walk into an organization, we don't know what they've been doing before we got there. We don't know what they're going to be doing after we leave. We don't know the dynamics, the culture, that sort of stuff. And so we put a 10 on everybody's head unless they take it off. And usually they don't take it off while we're there. So we kind of lift everyone up. We raise the leadership lid on the organization during our time there. And then the owners, the leaders, can see how the people respond with a higher level of leadership. And that's what happened. And that group, some of you probably listening right now, if I had to guess, by the time this episode comes out. So that's pretty cool. We enjoyed our time out there. Met some really great people. And a lot of those folks there, one way we always know when the people are hungry is they start following us on social media. And a lot of those folks did. And we keep a constant drip going out there. A lot of them probably listening to this podcast now and doing book studies and that sort of stuff. I know they're doing that. They were gung-ho, they were hungry, and they understood and they bought into what could be at their organization. So they had a group of high-impact leaders, the owners, who heard us speak and said, hey, I want to bring that to my organization. And they didn't just dip their toe in the water. They dove off in the deep end, and they asked their team to dive in with them to create true cultural transformation. So it's really, really awesome. But the way you start doing it, and it's not that hard, you make everybody feel like they matter. That's why this is in the Blue Collar Leadership and Supervision book, chapter 23. Everybody matters. Whether you know it or not, they know it. So high-impact leaders make sure that people feel like they matter because they know they'll increase their influence with people when they have a relationship with people. So I'll share a quote here. It says, treat a man as he appears to be, and you make him worse. But treat a man as if he already were what he potentially could be, and you make him what he should be. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name of that person. If you read the book, the quote's in there and the name's in there, but I ain't going to tangle that thing all up. But think about that. Treat a man as he appears to be, and you make him worse. But treat a man as if he already were what he potentially could be, and you make him what he should be. And it doesn't matter, man, woman, whatever word you want to use. It's about people. And that's what we do when we come into an organization. We try to model what leaders need to do. But a lot of times the leaders haven't done the work on themselves to overcome their pride, their ego, their insecurity, all this kind of stuff that slows down and bogs down leaders and causes a lot of friction and frustration with them and their team. But if they can develop enough humility, and some of them already have enough, they just need to do it. And once they figure out what they need to do, they start doing it. And so those who don't need to learn and leverage humility. So high impact leaders know everyone matters equally. And what we mean is everybody is valuable as a human being on our team. And it's also obvious to all because these high impact leaders are always trying to find ways to unleash their team's potential. Because high impact leaders see people for what they can be. I often tell people when we're in the room, especially people who've never heard us before, or heard anything like we talk about. A lot of times we just get in the blank looks. It's new stuff. But what I want people to know is there's a good chance that Rhea and I have more vision for their potential than they do. And that's sad. But that's what leaders have to do, is they have to loan people their belief in them. A lot of times they've never had anyone believe in them, especially when you're talking about some of the folks on the front line and entry-level blue-collar work in the workforce. I meet a lot of people, and they haven't really had anyone with a high level of leadership understanding who actually could believe in them and motivate and inspire them to live up to their potential. See, I believe potential is reality. If that's your potential, that's your reality. You just haven't realized it yet. So high impact leaders think with an abundance mindset. They're a river. They let what comes into them flow through them and into others. They grow and develop others. They understand there's plenty of success for everyone. Everybody can win. Everybody can get better. Everybody can have a better life. So high impact leaders, their focus is on others. But managers of people, they have a scarcity mindset, and they think with scarcity. Instead of being a river, letting things flow through them and into others, they're more like a reservoir. They're holding what flows into them, and they don't develop others. And they believe there's only so much success to be had, and if they don't have their success, if they don't become successful, then somebody else is going to. So then right the opposite, they think if somebody else has success, then they won't have success. That's a scarcity mindset. Abundance says we can all be successful. But those with a scarcity mindset, they only focus on developing themselves or their organizations. They may not even want to tell others what they're doing. Like if a company is using our materials, our content, this Blue Collar Leadership, the Blue Collar Leadership series books. Some leaders who are thinking from a scarcity mindset, they don't want the competition to know what they're doing. So they try to keep this thing a secret. But that's exactly the wrong thing to do, because when you keep it a secret, you can't attract high impact people who value growth and development. The only way you can attract high impact people who value growth and development, your team and you as a leader have to spread this stuff. If I'm running a company, I'm posting on my social media, I'm telling everybody what we do. I ain't worried about the competition doing this. I hope they do it, because our world needs to be a better place. But most likely, they're not going to do it. And even if they did do it, they got to do everything you've done and sometimes a whole lot more to even catch up where you're at today. And if you're going and going and going, they're never going to catch up. So don't live out of a scarcity mindset. Live out of an abundance mindset. So I'm going to share with you 7 simple ways to make everybody matter. If you want to be a high impact leader with humility, real simple stuff, but you got to do it. Number 1, and these are not in any certain order, there's just 7 of them. Number 1 is Talk to your team regularly, especially when there's no reason to do so. So often, folks on the front line, blue-collar workforce, they don't hear from their leaders. A lot of times, they don't hear from them unless there's something going wrong or the leader needs to give them directions relative to some work needs to be done or ask them questions. Some people may say, well, what else is there to do? Nothing if you want to manage people. If you want to lead people, you need to build a relationship. And that means talking to them when there's no reason to do so, because that shows you're talking to them because you value talking to them. And I know I've been around the block. There's a lot of managers out there. They ain't about to do that. But I'm telling you, they ain't got the influence of somebody who does. If you listen to this podcast, I'm assuming you want to grow and develop your influence and you want to build a high impact team, and you don't do it by staying away from the people. Number 2, give your team special assignments where they can be successful and get noticed. Do it on purpose. Don't do it because it needs to be done. Look for assignments that'll leverage someone on your team's strength and help them be successful, help them get noticed. They'll appreciate you for it. They'll over-deliver. They'll do more than expected. They'll do things before they're expected. They'll do things better than expected when you treat them and make them feel like they matter. Number 3, ask their opinion about things not directly related to them or their job. Again, managers, they're all about the person doing the job and the job the person's doing. Leadership, though, says you matter. You bring something to the table, maybe that I don't have. And it doesn't mean you're going to do what they say, but you're involving them in something not directly related to them or their daily task. So ask their opinion about things beyond their scope. It's one way to do what we talked about in number 1, is talk to them when there's no reason to do so. If you're asking them their opinion about something else besides their job, they know you don't have to be there doing that. So you can kind of knock out a couple of things at the same time with number 3. Number 4, ask them what their dreams are and what they would like to do in the future. Imagine if you go up to somebody on your team and you don't even know what their dreams are. A lot of times I ask leaders, how many people are on your team? A lot of times they don't even know how many people are on the team. They don't know if it's 25, 22. And I'm not talking about somebody with 10,000 people reporting to them underneath their chain of command, if you want to call it that. I'm talking about small organizations, small departments. A lot of times the leader does not even know how many people report to them. If you don't know, I'm telling you, if you want to be a high impact leader, you got some work to do. Because people who don't know how many, leaders who don't know how many people are reporting to them, there's a whole lot of other stuff they don't know. So think about that. But ask your team what their dreams are, what they want to do in the future. And if there's any way possible for you to help them realize that dream or move toward that future, you start doing that and you're going to have a loyal team member who values you as a leader, who's going to over-deliver. They're going to do all that stuff that high-impact individuals do when they're following a high-impact leader. You may not be able to help them, but still find out where they're headed, what their direction is. See if there's any way you can support them. It may or may not be anything related to what you do in your company. Number 5, find a way to help them shine. Think about that. If a leader in your organization, maybe you're a direct leader or someone else, it doesn't matter. If they're a leader and they're helping you shine, helping you get recognition, they're going to have a lot of influence with you. You're going to have a lot of respect for that person. You're going to want to help that person. And if they're your direct leader, when you help them because they're helping you, everybody wins. So find a way to help your team members shine. Number 6, help your team members network by introducing them to other leaders in the organization. Look for opportunities to connect people. A scarcity mindset says, oh, I may not want to connect my rock star to another leader who really doesn't know him because they may try to steal them. If you want what's best for your people and what's best for the organization, if there's a better fit, you need to help make that fit. That's what high impact leaders do. But that ain't the only reason. Help them expand their influence by introducing them to other high impact leaders, high impact players on the team that may be in other departments. Connect those high impact people together. And they may not be high impact right now, but still, it's one way to make them feel like they matter. Invite them to a meeting with someone, invite them to lunch with someone, or when you're walking past with someone, pass them with someone, stop, introduce them. All kind of ways to do it. I'm just saying it's one way to make people feel like they matter is when you're introducing them to other players within the organization. And number 7, sincerely and regularly thank them for their contributions to the team's success, your success, and the organization's success. I've heard so many weak-minded managers of people in my life, in my 30 plus years, mostly within the blue-collar organizations, that think they don't have to thank somebody. I've heard them literally say it. Why do I have to thank them? That's what we pay them for. That is a low-impact manager mindset. Poor character as a leader. They're probably getting poor results with their team. But that's an insecure, low-character individual in a leadership position who thinks they don't need to sincerely and regularly thank their team for their contribution. Because I'm telling you, most of the places I go in the United States, those people are volunteering. It's one of the things I ask leaders a lot when I'm speaking. How much do you pay your volunteers? And then they look at me like I'm crazy. We don't have any volunteers. Everybody here is, we're paying everybody to be here. Oh, I said, okay, I'm with you. Do they have to come back to work tomorrow if they don't want to? Most places I go, they say no, they don't have to come back. If they hit the lottery tonight, they don't have to come back tomorrow. If they decide to go work at another company and don't want to give a notice, they don't have to come back tomorrow. Anyone who does not have to come back tomorrow, I call that person a volunteer. That's why I always ask, how much are you paying your volunteers? And the reason I do that is I want leaders to start realizing just because you pay somebody, you do not own them. Yeah, they're doing the work, but they're volunteering to do the work for the pay. It's a high turnover out there. There's high turnover all across this country. And it's called, one of the big reasons is because people are not appreciated for their work. High impact leaders, they constantly and continuously and consistently thanking their team members. Patting them on the back. They're doing little celebrations. They have pizza day. They're shaking hands. They point out specific things that they appreciate. They don't just walk by and pat them on the back and say, good job, Mack. They say, no, I heard about you did so-and-so yesterday. And that was a big deal because XYZ. And I just want to make sure you understand I appreciate that. You didn't have to do it, but you did it, and you done it very well, and this is why it matters. That's the kind of appreciation you show your team. Not pat on the back and say, great job, and then go find the next one, pat them on the back, great job, and do that every day. That's not very authentic appreciation. All right. So Tony Dungy says this: if we lose sight of people, we lose sight of the very purpose of leadership. You've heard me say it before. We manage things and processes. Unfortunately, low-impact managers, they also manage people. But we should lead people. Leading has nothing to do with things and processes. Leadership is about people. There's no option there. The option is over with the management side. You can manage people and treat them like objects just like you do things and processes. That's an option. But with leadership's got nothing to do with things and processes. Leadership is about the people. And then those people, if you motivate and inspire those people, they will manage the processes and the things very, very well. But leadership's about the people. So I'll leave you with this final thought. as we've been talking about, helping people realize they matter because everybody matters. There's potential in everyone. And I'll tell you this, if a member on your team doesn't feel like they matter, it's probably because they don't. It's that simple. A high impact leader makes sure that their team feels like they matter. And if you're a high impact leader and you have leaders reporting to you and they got leaders reporting to them, it starts with you and it cascades through the organization. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Talk to you next time.
Make it happen or someone else will. It might as well be you. Are you serious about taking your career and your life to the next level and beyond? Check out Mack Story's Blue Collar Leadership Series books and others, now available on audio, along with paperback and ebooks at Amazon, iTunes, and Audible. Please visit bluecollarleadership.com to learn about Mack's books, programs, special offers, certifications, and more. Thank you for listening to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast.